A few of the Salaf al-Salih, our righteous forebears, mentioned that those who show off in prayer, those who show off in their acts of worship, they have three characteristics. Now listen carefully to this profound statement. What they're trying to say to us here, or what they are saying to us, is if you have one of these characteristics, rectify your intention, change it. Change your attitude. They said that those who show off, in other words, they are not doing that act of worship for Allah Ta'ala, they're doing it for someone else. Those who show off in their acts of worship have three attributes that is known to them. So if any of us have this in us, inshallah we don't, change it. Number one, that they are very lazy when they are by themselves. They are what? Very lazy. So when there's no one around except the Qarin, why would they show off for? Why would they do that extra act of worship if they're show-offs? So if you are lazy at home, or wherever you may be, you are lazy to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you don't find yourself energetic, then there's an issue with your intention. Understand that? You know, one of the things that actually is a cure, a medicine for riyah, showing off, is that you do acts of worship when you are behind the veil, meaning behind people's eyes and ears, when no one can see you except the Creator of all seeing and all hearing. Number two, the second characteristic is that they are lively and energetic when they are around people. And I'm pretty sure, inshallah not us, many times when you're around others, you feel alive. You feel strong. Let us do this. Let us do that. Let us go. Fi sabilillah. Let us go get funds for the poor. Whatever it may be. You may stand up and pray. You may do things that you wouldn't do if you're by yourself. That's a characteristic of showing off. Not to Allah, but to the human eye and to the human ear. Number three, that you increase your worship. You better your worship when you are praised by others. Now someone says to you, for example, you do a lot of good. Yeah. And what else can we do? Come on. So you increase your acts of worship because you're being praised. You're being uplifted. And you decrease your acts of worship to the Almighty Allah when you're criticized. Inshallah, none of us here have any of these characteristics. And if you do, change it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as you all know, every night, every morning, the latter part of the morning, every second, if you would like, opens his hands out wide, saying, who is out there seeking repentance? Who is there asking for my forgiveness? So as long as you're alive, you can change. But when you die, you can't change anything. You can't change anything. Because then you've got one chance in your life, and that's when you're breathing. When you breathe. Wallahi, it's a terrible possibility. A terrible possibility. That you are resurrected from that grave. Behold, before the Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're happy. You got all those prayers that you prayed. And you prayed a lot. Whether it's a voluntary or the prescribed prayer. You fasted a lot. All these fasts that you come with. You fasted the Ramadan, you fasted the days that I needed to fast, Ayyam al-Bid, you fasted Mondays and Thursdays. You may have fasted every second day. So on the day of resurrection, you're carrying it, and it's so much reward that you've done in this world, on this earthly existence. You gave a lot of money fi sabilillah, a lot of money. You spoke the good word and you smiled to the Muslim or to the non-Muslim because of charity. Ethics, morals is the attitude of a believer. For indeed, on the day of resurrection, the greatest deed, the heaviest deed that will be on the scale is your akhlaq, your good character. So you come with all this righteous behavior, all this reward, and you're happy. And you expect that which is great. And you can't wait to see your result. And then, bankrupt. You're bankrupt. What? Bankrupt? Yes. Simply because of a corruption of our motive. Simply because your intention was contaminated. It was mixed with najas. Because anything that is done for other than the Almighty Rabbu Azza wa Jal is najas, is evil. And there's nothing to be seen. All those good deeds that you did in this dunya, gone, haba'an manthura. Reflect, ponder. It's serious, wallahi. Remember this and recognize, hence acknowledge the danger therein. That this intention, this heart, if it is not for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your acts of worship are not for Allah, you're on a major path of destruction and to damnation. Subhanallah, one of the great scholars, Sufyan al-Thawri, said it beautifully. You know, many of us think that we're safe, we're great, we're strong, we're like a mountain of Iman. Are you? Are you? You're flesh and bones, you're weak. Don't ever become complacent. Don't let your gloves off. Make sure they're on. Because the devil does never ever rest. He's always working. He's always punching you. He's always trying and trying to grab you. Don't ever take your gloves off. As Sufyan al-Thawri said, nothing was harder for me to treat than my intention. Which is Sufyan al-Thawri, the Wahsh, the mountain of knowledge, the mountain of ilm. Who in the world are we? Who in the world are we compared to these mountains? And they were scared. They feared this. And we all know the great and powerful, profound saying of Al-Fiyad ibn Iyad, or Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad, when he said, if you're able to get by without being known, then do so. Do so. Why does it bother you that you are not praised? And then he said, why does it bother you that you may be blameworthy in the sight of people, but if in the sight of Allah you're praiseworthy? Why? Why does it bother you that you may be blameworthy in the sight of people? They're blaming you, they're criticizing you, they're cursing, slandering, attacking you. So what? If in the sight of Allah you are praiseworthy. That's a sign of ikhlas. That's who you are concerned about, no one else. Bishr ibn Harith said it beautifully. He said, no one, I have not seen a single person that loves fame, that loves to be known, except his deen becomes destroyed and he becomes disgraced. He said, anyone who truly fears Allah, listen to this, anyone who truly fears Allah does not like to be known amongst the people. Wallahi, that's reality. You know, it reminds me of a great saying of Sheikh al-Albani. معك يا أبو عبد الله شيخك هذا؟
شيخي؟
نعم.
هو عالمنا.
خلاص كفاية. So فتح الله عليكم رحمة الله عليكم. Sheikh Al-Albani said it beautifully. Once he was invited to Bangladesh to do a major talk there. You know, the Bangladesh is predominantly supposed Muslims. You know, in reality of the correct side of the minhaj. So Albani asked the organizers of this tour, how many people are going to attend? What did he ask over there? How many people are going to attend this great lecture? And the response was 2 million people. Now Sheikh Albani, he's a humble man. Listen to his profound saying. He was scared. His demeanor, his attitude changed. He goes, أين الألباني؟ وأين قلب الألباني؟ قدام مليوني شخص. Because where is Albani? And what will happen to the heart of Sheikh Al-Albani in front of 2 million people? I'm not going. Allah. It happened in his lifetime. Because I'm sorry, I decline, I can't go. He feared for himself. He actually feared. Do we fear for ourselves? Don't take this lightly. Don't take this lightly. It can be a tick or a cross on the day where you will need desperately that tick, wallahi. So always make sure that you rectify your intention before you come, after you leave, when you wake up, when you drive. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika an ushrika bika shay'an a'lamuhu wastaghfiruka lima la a'lamuhu. Ask Allah to always forgive you for that which you know that you may be committing, and that which you do not know that you may be committing as well. Always, you're a human being. And this hadith was given to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq ibn Abi Quhafa to see when he asked Rasulullah advice, since Riyah, showing off, is like a black ant on a black mountain on a moonless night. That's how discreet it is. So no one here believes or should believe that he is a hero and a macho man and protected and there's no problem on him. Yes, there is a problem. You thinking that is the biggest problem. Always rectify your intention, always. To our lesson. We've reached number 5, and that is Ahlus Sunnah respect the Salaf wholeheartedly. And we did deliver last week, I believe, regarding the most excellent of the companions in order, in sequence. Did we not? Now, i'tiqad Ahlus Sunnah wal Jammah in regards to the first generation of the companions, that is, they respected them. Ahlus Sunnah respects those who are known to be the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, part of respecting them means that you free yourself and you warn against anyone and everyone who attacks, curses, slanders, reviles the companions of Beacon, the companions of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Beautiful narration that mentions, do not curse my companions. For wallahi, he said, by the one in whose hand is my soul, if you were to give, O Muslim, any one of us, gold in charity that is equal to the mountain of Uhud, he said, it will not equate even a handful of one of theirs. If you were to give your Amir a mountain of gold, look how profound this narration is. A mountain of gold of charity, you would not reach even a handful of one of them. And then he continues saying, not even half a handful. So who in the world are we to come and criticize these stars, honestly? In a hadith by Tirmidhi, it mentions, do not take them as targets after me. You know, with a slander, with cursing and attack. And then he said, whoever loves them, loves me. Whoever hates them hates me. Whoever offends them offends me, and in turn offends the Almighty Allah. Another narration says, it's in Bukhari, the sign of Iman, the sign of faith, is loving the Ansar. And we all know the Ansar. And a sign of Nifaq is hating the Ansar. Loving them is loving Allah, and hating them is hating Allah. Yeah, the virtues of these great men and women are countless. Countless. The only one who thinks otherwise is the one who's got a devilish, demonic, filthy, disgusting heart. Wallahi, no one else. And those who utilize or who usually antagonize these great stars and beacons are predominantly of three groups: the Rawafid, the Khawarij, and the Nasiba. These three groups are usually the ones that attack these great stars and don't take heed to what Allah said about them, nor Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The worst of these people are no doubt the Rawafid, not the Shiite. Shiite is a good name. The Rawafid, the rejectors. They're the most devilish of the three. They criticize, attack, and revile the companions openly with no regard, no care. You know, in their book called Jammah al-Kafi, and that book to them is the most authentic and most profound book that they believe is the most authentic book after the Quran to them. Although they say the Quran is not fully the Quran as we have it today, it's being hidden by one of the Imams, won't go there. That's the book of theology, this book. And it says in it, just I'll give you a few quotes only, just to understand exactly what they say about the companions. They say, quoting from their book, that after the death of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the companions apostated except a few of them. All of them. And they mentioned Al-Miqdad ibn Aswad, Salman al-Farisi, and Abu Dharr al-Ghifari. And then they said that you must curse 4 idols and 4 women: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Muawiyah, Aisha, Hafsa, Hind, al-Hakam. And then they say, after each prayer, you must mention these ones and curse them every time you pray. Otherwise, you're not a true believer. Alhamdulillah, I don't want to be a believer of that. And I'm definitely not a true believer of this filth. Wallah. This disgusting evil. Brothers and sisters, we must love them. To sum this up, we must love them, emulate them, follow them. We are not allowed to disparage, belittle, humiliate, debase. We are not allowed to slander, curse, revile, attack any of them. We only speak about them with that which is good. I'tiqad, Ahlas wal Jammah, in regards to their companions, is that we do not even indulge ourselves by delving into the discussions with regards to what happened between them when it came to their differences and their tribulations. We all know what occurred, between the companions. But Allah named them both believers. Their ijtihad was ijtihad. One was right, definitely, and one was wrong. But that was still called believers. We withhold, understand that. As the hadith says, when my companions are mentioned, keep silent. Hadith, withhold your tongue. Never, ever utter a word of disgust or disrespect about any companion, mind you. So when you delve into these topics of what happened to them, how that happened, in the Ma'arik of Safin and Jammah and, you naturally, if you delve into it too much, you naturally become complacent. You naturally feel some kind of hurt. So, i'tiqad, Ahlas wal Jammah, is to keep away from these topics. It's not going to help you. It will not benefit you. Allah. All we got to understand, Ya Mustafa, is the following. Allah loves them and is pleased with them. Rasulullah loves them. And what are we obliged to do? We love anyone whom Allah loves. And Rasulullah loves. We love them. because they love them. Period. It stops there. فهمتم يا أخوتي الأعزاء ويا أخوات؟ Number 6. Very good question. Al-Nasiba and Al-Khawarij. These two individuals did not actually intend to be attacking Islam. Their intention was not to attack Islam. They weren't malicious, in other words, in attacking the deen per se. But they rebelled against Ali and the house of the Prophet, especially the Khawarij. So their rebellious behavior and slander was politically motivated. Politically motivated. It's not to attack the deen itself or to attack really the companions. But they rebelled due to their differences and they went to extreme views. Hence, they were those who were deviant. Inshallah, we'll get into it more in the future. It's not the topic, Mustafa, but just a bit of a light on that, inshallah. Number 6. They strictly oppose interpretations regarding the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a major one of Ahlas wal Jammah regarding the asma' wa sifat. In Surah Al-A'raf mentions, verse 180, وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا وَذَرُوا الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي أَسْمَائِهِ سَيُجْزَوْنَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ. Beautiful verse. Interpreted, to Allah belongs the most beautiful names. So call upon Him by them. And shun, this is a very important area, and shun all those who distort His names. They shall be requited because of what they used to do. Allah has beautiful names. Allah has perfect attributes. Every single name is perfect. Every name you can derive from it an attribute of perfection and excellence. Understand that? Every name is perfect. From every single name you can derive a perfect and excellent attribute. Now, recognizing the names of the Almighty Allah and His attributes, the recognition of this helps you understand Him, Ya Mustafa. When you recognize the names and attributes, how does it help you understand? When you recognize the names and attributes of a one, of whatever it may be, person, animal, or the Almighty Himself, when you know the attributes and the names, what does it help you do? It helps you understand better who that one is. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Himself, that I've got names and attributes, there's a reason behind it. For us to know Him better, to understand Him better, to love Him more. فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا, call upon Him by the name, يَا غَفُورُ اغْفِرْ لِي, يَا تَوَّابُ تُبْ عَلَيِّ, يَا وَهَابُ هِبْ لِي. And. There's a reason behind it. And through the names of Allah and His attributes, only through them, do you come to the realization that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is far beyond our imagination. Far beyond. Only through recognizing His names and attributes. And that He bears no resemblance, absolutely no resemblance to that of man. Okay, what is i'tiqad Ahlus Sunnah wal Jammah fi al-asma' wa sifat? We're going to talk about this now. Mustafa, come and erase that, and I want you to write this down. This is the i'tiqad, the belief of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jammah. The Salaf I'm talking about, the methodology of the Salaf. This is their belief. Not my belief in the sense that I just made this up, no. I follow their belief. This is the belief of no other than Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar al-Faruq, Uthman Dhu Nurayn, the great Ali Abu Turab, Saifullah, Abu Ubaidah. Hayya Allah al-Hajj. شو هالكلام على الأسماء جبال الله بيضاء. Where is the text there? You write this down, and this is the definition or the belief, i'tiqad of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah when it comes to the names and attributes. تفضل يا مصطفى. Their belief is to affirm and accept. To affirm and accept. To affirm and accept every name and attribute. Every name and attribute that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala affirmed for himself in the glorious uncreated word in the Quran. Just forget that Allah affirmed for himself in the Quran. And that, or all those that his messenger affirmed for him in the authentic Sunnah. And all those that Rasulullah affirmed for him in the authentic Sunnah. Have you written this, guys? We're going to continue. There's 5 points we're going to mention here. Is that written? No? No, that's written. Kibaka skinny. You're looking very comfortable, Habibi. Why is he so comfortable? Push him and make him uncomfortable. Now, is that written, brothers and sisters? Alhamdulillah. Erase it. So as you can see, the belief, the i'tiqad of Ahlas Sunnah wal Jammah, of the Salaf, their methodology in this is to affirm every single name and attribute that Allah has mentioned about himself in the Quran. And every name and attribute that his beloved Messenger mentioned in the authentic Sunnah. Now, the continuation of this has to be without. Put down without here. Without. Without capital letters. You got people who have glasses on and still struggling. You're making it harder. Without. That's better. That's better. Interesting. Without number one. Number one. This is the continuation of the first paragraph. Without tahrif. Without what? Tahrif. Which means without distorting the names and attributes, whether in words or meaning. Without distorting the names and attributes, whether in words or meaning. We're going to have an example, a practical example at the end, so it can be more easier to understand even later. So the first one is, you cannot distort any name or attribute, whether it's by meaning or word. Number two, without ta'til. Without ta'til. شو معنى تعطيل يا بالانجليزي يا ابو عبد الله؟ انت ضوئيا انت شيكسبير. ما شاء الله تبارك الله. Without ta'til, denying the names and attributes. Denying the names and attributes. Number four, or number three, without takyif, without takyif. Asking how, trying to describe it. Asking how. How is this attribute? How is this name? Number four, without tamthil. Tamthil, or another term for it is tashbih, but without tamthil is good enough. Which is resembling the names and attributes, resembling them to the creation. resembling them to the creation. And number 5, without tafweed, claiming they have no meaning. Claiming they have no meaning. Claiming they have no meaning. We're going to apply this, inshallah, to an attribute, so you can better understand it, exactly what it means. See, this is the belief of the methodology or the path of the methodology of Ahlas wal Jammah. And I'm talking about those who are like Abu Bakr, Umar, their followers and so forth and so on, the tabi'een, atba' tabi'een, and every single person who follows them with righteousness to the last day. This is what they say. First of all, let us say, as Allah affirmed for Himself, and you can argue with me as much as you want tonight. I'll allow interactive argument, a debate, if you want to debate me. I've got no problem. But you better have your ammunition with you. If you're not going to have your ammunition, you're going to be hammered. Because I don't accept anything except the Quran and Sunnah. So if you're willing to debate, I'll rush for that. But you better have something to give me. And if it's good, I accept it. If it's not, keep it with you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He's got a hand. Allah says He's got what? He's got hands. H-A-N-D-S. هل سمعتم يا أحباش? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He's got hands. Now where's our proof for this? Like, is it allowable for us just to say He's got hands? No, it isn't. See, this is where i'tiqad of Ahlas wal Jammah comes in. Are we allowed to say He has something without any proof? No, we're not. I'm going to give you a few proofs, which is replete in the Quran and Sunnah. Wallahi. There's so much, it's not a joke. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Sa'd, verse 75, قال يا إبليس ما منعك أن تسجد لما خلقت بيدي. He said, oh Iblis, oh Satan, what prevents you from prostrating yourself to the one whom I created, he said, with both my hands. Who said this, Ya Umar? Allah saying this. He said this. Not Andrew or Cassandra or Ahmad or Aisha. Allah said this. Another verse. In Al-Ma'idah, verse 59. وقالت اليهود يد الله مغلولة. The Yahud said that the hands of Allah, that's what they're saying. The Yahud, the hands of Allah are tied up. In other words, they're greedy, they're stingy. He doesn't give, in other words. He doesn't spend of His bounty. That's what they said. That's what Allah says in refuting them. He said, غُلَّتْ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَلُعِنُوا بِمَا قَالُوا. He said, be their hands tied up, and be they accursed for the blasphemy they utter. And then He said, بَلْ يَدَاهُ مَبْسُوطَتَانِ. Then He says, His hands, يَدَاهُ, is مُثَنَّى, 2 hands. Again, the Arabic language. It can mean nothing but that. And we'll come to realize soon, inshallah. He said, but His hands are widely outstretched. He gives as He pleases of His bounty, to whom He pleases. Number 3, hadith. It's in Bukhari. Do we doubt Bukhari, Ali? Well, this hadith is in Bukhari. The hadith says, also said, the right hand of Allah. See, extra description here. What is he asking? Extra description. The right hand of Allah, he said. See, we are not allowed to describe Him in any way. Wallahi, we are not allowed. Unless there's proof. We've got proof here. That He's got right hand. He said, the right hand of Allah is full. And its fullness is not affected by the continuous giving, spending, day and night. Another narration. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hadith says, Hadith Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, that Allah created three things with His hands. With what? His hands. What are they, Ya Rasulullah? He created Adam with his hands. He created, or He wrote the Torah with His hand. And He planted the Garden of Eden with His hand. Hadith. Another narration says that on the day of resurrection, it's in Bukhari and Muslim, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will roll up the heavens, will fold them all up and put them in His right hand. And He will fold up all the earths. How many earths are there, Mustafa? 16 or 17? Good answer. Here's a smart one this boy. He's, how many earths? 16 or 17? Come on, you have the answer to that. It's so easy you don't want to even answer it. It is so easy you want to give it to someone else. Taha, what's it good to you? What was the question? Astaghfirullah. Astaghfirullah. I thought you were out of your slumber.
One. It's only one earth.
How many earths are there? 16 or 17? I like that, from what I know. So he did say, it is one from what I know. So he's claiming failure to himself. And that's a failure. Which is good. It's humbleness. Who can tell me how many earths there are? Ya Ahlul Ulama. Ya MashaAllah, Ya Ashraf Jacobs. 7 earths exist. There's an authentic narration on this. There are 7 earths. And the narration says He will fold up the 7 earths and put them in the other hand. No, Mustafa.
You see, there's some of the other matters also say 8. You don't want to live 7 or 8.
There's only 7 earths. Never 8. Anyone that says that is wrong. There's clear, explicit evidence to that in the Quran and in the Sunnah.
What do you mean by 7 earths?
7 heavens there are,
Okay.
and 7 earths. There are layers. We don't know anything, Yusuf. Our ability, our capacity, our comprehension is wallahi minute of a minute. We know nothing of existence. We are like a speck in the ocean. Do you know how vast the ocean is? That little speck, not even a drop, forget the drop, it's too big. A speck. There's a movie that cartoon I used to watch when I was younger. What's it called? Norton or Horton something. It's to do with an elephant. Has anyone seen it? Anyway, it's a speck that exists and the elephant can't determine whether it exists or not. And finally he finds out that it does exist. And he takes so care of it. He loves it. He protects it with his life. Because there's a kangaroo out there trying to straight and kill it. That's the film. Anyway, we are a speck. And even less than a speck of light. 7 earths as there are 7 heavens. We'll get into evidences in the future, inshallah, because there's many evidences on it. And the hadith says He will fold the 7 heavens, 7 earths, and place them into the other hand, or in His other hand. And then He'll say, I am the king. Allah says this. I am the king. Where are the tyrants? Where are the arrogant? May Allah protect us, Allah. May Allah protect us. Be careful, brothers and sisters, be careful. Don't have any kibr in your heart. Don't ever have kibr, arrogance. Don't think you're better than others, ever. Be humble and humble yourself. As the narration says, Ya Rasulullah, but everyone loves to look beautiful. You know, we like new clothes and new things. He goes, no. Arrogance is not looking beautiful or wanting to be beautiful or buying beautiful things. Allah is beautiful, He loves beauty. But arrogance is denying the truth while you know it. Rejecting the truth while you know it. This is arrogance. So this is evidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has hands. We're not going to go any further. There are many reports, wallahi. Many. What is i'tiqad Ahlas wal Jammah regarding the hands now? You've heard all this narration, and we did say what Allah confirms in the Quran and what He confirms on the Prophet's tongue. So did we not? That's the i'tiqad. Without these 5. Okay. We know He's got hands. Anyone deny that? No one Habashi, alhamdulillah. Tahrif. We are not allowed to do what? Distort the hand or the attribute here with words or meaning. You cannot say the hands means power, quwwah. You cannot say the hands means ni'mah, blessing, as they did. So in other words, he created Adam with his 2 powers and 2 blessings. Where's the logic in that? You know, and the hadith also says that when he says a definition or word or attribute, it means as it means. Hence, hands in all these evidences can only be described in the Arabic language as hands. It was never ever mentioned in dual form, that there are 2 blessings and 2 powers, as they claim. Doesn't exist. So we are not allowed to what? Do tahrif, 2 hands. We are not allowed to do ta'til. That is denying that he's got hands. Allah said so. Leave it, khalas. We are not allowed to do takyif. We are not allowed to ask, how is that hand? He didn't tell us. We only got one description. What was that? Yeah, stop it.
Hand, that's it.
Hand is? He's got one hand, that is?
That's his hands. And that's it.
He's got right, hasn't he? We've got that. Do we have anything else now? We've got nothing. So we cannot ask, how is that hand? Why is it? Oh, let it go. It never was asked, you let it go. Number 4, we don't do tamthil. You do not resemble his hands to the creation. That's kufr. All this is kufr. And we do not do tafweed. We don't claim what doesn't mean anything. No, it's got hands, but it's got hands. There's no meaning to it. No, there's a meaning to it. We don't know the meaning. There is a meaning to it. Let it go. See, the methodology of Ahlas wal Jammah, as they claim, this is their statement, direct statement now. This is quoting them. They said, the names and attributes must be accepted and affirmed, exactly as he mentioned it. And then they said, without inquiring about its nature. And then they said, the belief of it is an obligation, the apparent meaning. And to reflect upon Allah or upon Allah is an innovation. As the hadith says, reflect about the creation, but don't reflect about Allah. You'll never know.
Meaning in his description or meaning in how?
Description.
Okay.
Or how is description trying to describe it?
Okay.
And they also said, this is the mountains of men. I'm not talking about, like I said, individuals who are laymen. These are the mountains of the Salaf, the companions I'm talking about, the Tabi'un. They said, مُرُوهَا كَمَا جَاءَتْ بِغَيْرِ تَفْسِيرٍ. This is their statement directly. Leave them alone, they said, without trying to determine what they are. That is their statement. This is the i'tiqad, the belief of the Salaf Salih. That's how they took the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the names. However, there are individuals out there, many individuals who have become deviant. مَا قَدَرُ اللَّهَ حَقَّ قَدْرِهِ. They made not a just estimate of Allah such as is due to Him. These individuals I'm going to be talking about now, briefly, they did not take the methodology of as-Salaf. Nor did they listen to them when they said, leave them alone. They did not leave them alone. Hence they deviated. Because when you do not leave the attributes of Allah as they are, as it was taught to us by them, you will fall into the abyss of deviation. You got, for example, the Jews. They made Allah like the creation. They made the creation, in other words, like the creation. The Christians made the creation like the creator. You got the Shiites, many of their sects. They made their imams, and we all know their imams are Allahu Akbar, they're like a cloud in the sky. They made their imams, they gave them divine attributes of absolute infallibility. This is from their books, wallahi. They say their imams can change destiny and control the atoms of creation. Kufr in essence, kufr. You got Wahadat al-Wujud, have you heard of that? Pantheism, monism. I'm going to put it on the board. Pantheism or monism. Ashraf, what's the pantheism mean?
Worship of men.
Sorry?
Worship of men.
Good try. But utterly not. Ahlan to ahlan. What's pantheism? Anyone know? How do you?
Worship more than one?
No. Pantheism, good try. Monism means that everything is Allah and Allah is everything. That the material world and Allah are one. That's monism or pantheism. Allah and the material world is one. In Arabic it's called Wahdadul Wujud. Wahdadul Ash? Al-Wujud. As one of their deviants claimed, he revealed his hat and said there's nothing underneath it except Allah. A'udhu billah. And we all know the likes of Ibn Arabi, the mystic Sufi, who was one of the head leaders of this deviancy. Now, you got likewise the group called Al-Jahmiyyah, who are the followers of Jammah ibn Safwan. And this deviant group believes that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not allow us our free will. In other words, we are forced into doing our actions. We've got no free will. This group tried to run away from tamthil, from resembling Allah. What did they say, this group? They said that if you affirm Allah's attributes and names, that means you've resembled Him. Are you with me? They said, if you affirm them, you've resembled Him. So better off denying it. Do you understand where they came from? They tried to utilize philosophy. They said, if you say that Allah has names and attributes, that means you've what? Resembled them, because creation has likewise. So they're better off to deny all of it. Hence fell into an utterance of kufr. We've got the Mu'tazilah, a group that's taken after Wasil ibn Atta. And this group is a very deviant group as well. They say, after they merged Greek philosophy with Islam, see, they were philosophers, they forwarded their intellect over the naql, over the evidences from the Quran and Sunnah. So what did they do? They merged Greek philosophy with Islam. Hence, that constituted to them affirming Allah's name, listen carefully, but rejecting His attributes. What does it mean? They say, yes, Allah is the all-hearing, but with no hearing faculties. They say Allah is the all-seeing, but with no seeing faculties. Does that make sense? Now, what in the world are they talking about? Like, seriously, are you alright? You must be on severe ice. Even the ice ace won't say that. That is just unbelievably silly and stupid. It really is. That you are, you'll see it, for example, you are a mechanic, but you don't know how to do anything to do with mechanic. You've got no clue, but you're a mechanic. You, Ali, are an electrician, but don't call me because I haven't got a clue how to do it. Well, I'm an electrician. That's what they're saying. Deviancy upon deviancy. All these groups, all of them, and there's many others. You got Al-Qadariyya, Al-Jibriyya, Al-Mushabbaha, Al-Mu'attida, Al-Mufawwida, Al-Karamiyya, and who did not adopt the methodology of Ahlas wal Jammah. Hence, this is the result. Destruction. You know, honestly, brothers and sisters, now, which is more safer? Like, really, which is more safer? What's more safer? See how disunity exists when there's no proper fundamental bedrock that you're adopting your belief on? What happens? Disunity, disruption, diversion, destruction, hence damnation. That's what happens. When unity is not there, according to the haqq, you can never unite. You can never unite when it's not according to the Salaf. You cannot unite. They were the best who knew Allah. They knew the teachers of the Quran better than all of us. And Allah was pleased, and He's pleased with them. As He is pleased with them. He gave them Jannah, and yet you want to take a path other than them. When they say to us, leave them alone. If He says He's got a hand, khalas, He's got a hand. Let it go. Leave them alone as they were without asking how, without this. And that's the Quranic verse. وَذَرُوا الَّذِينَ يُلْحِدُونَ فِي أَسْمَائِهِ. and shun, go against, keep away from those who play with Allah's name. And listen to people here. This is playing around al-ilhad. Yalhiduna, this is it. Hada ilhad in the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You keep away from this, you're on the correct methodology. And you will unite. You will be the Jammah. You will be the Jammah. Is there any issues with this one? Now,
It's not issues with that. Why did pantheism or what do you put it up?
that was one of the deviant sects. The pantheists, or the ones who claimed Wahdat al-Wujud, they claimed that they destroyed his name's attributes by making him equal to us.
That's not rich. They think that one
They're extra evil. There's evil, extra severe, grave evil. There's a lot of evils out there. They're, a'udhu billah, the worst of the worst. Yeah, Toya. No, I'm just kidding.
In all them groups, are the majority of them Sunnah? Can we pray behind any of them?
No,
No?
absolutely not. Not one of these groups that you have to pray behind.
In terms of the Sufis.
Let us avoid their actions or their statements is kufr. I'm not saying they're kuffar, be very wary, be careful. But the statements they utter is utter disbelief. And that's what Allah says, وَذَرُوا الَّذِينَ, keep away from these people, shun them, warn against them. So how in the world would you pray behind them when they're doing ilhad? This is ilhad. How can you deny what Allah said he's got? How can you say how when Allah said not to do it? How can you say that he hasn't, it looks like this, we should don't do it? They say come to the Sheikh, for example. See, the names and attributes can go further and far. We're not here today to discuss it in detail. It goes beyond that. But we're just giving you the surface of it. The surface. You know, for example, I'll give you an example. Malik ibn Anas one day was doing a lesson in Al-Haram. That's where he was, Imam Al-Haram of Medina. He used to always sit next to the Prophet ﷺ grave, always. And he had a crown in front of him. A man walks in, and abruptly he said, كيف استوى الله على العرش? What did he ask? It's an authentic narration. It's a very, very famous statement and story that happened to Malik ibn Anas. This man just abruptly walks in and yells out, how did Allah establish his throne? And we know in the Quran there are seven different verses all saying that Allah established his throne. Ar-Rahman or Al-Arsh istawa. 7 different verses in the Quran. Are we going to deny that? Are we going to change it? Are we going to deny it? Are we going to ask how? And this man's asking what? How did Allah establish his throne? Are we going to say his establishment resembles ours? A'udhu billah. Are we going to say, does it have a meaning? A'udhu billah. So what did Malik do? Malik got very angry. He put his head down. He became red and sweaty. He became what? Red and sweaty. He lifts his head and looks at this man very angrily. He said, Al-istiwa'u ma'lum. That is the establishment of the throne is well known in the Arabic language. وَالْكَيْفِيَّ مَجْهُولٌ. But how is unknown to us. Don't delve into it, in other words. وَالْإِيمَانُ بِذَلِكَ وَاجِبٌ. And to have faith in this, as Allah said, is an obligation upon you and all of us. And then he said, اخرجوا من المسجد فإنه رجل مبتدع. Take him out of this mosque. He is no other than an innovator. This wasn't asked in those days. They never asked this question of how. It was an interest, it was a novelty. To ask the question how, they took it seriously. And they scorned and scolded anyone who did so. Understand that. There's actually a narration, although there's some weakness in the transmission, some scholars have lifted it to the permissibility. What happened? It's an Amir Khalid, one of the Umara of the early days. He was given the khutbah on the day of sacrifice, khutbah al-Adha. And the day of sacrifice, what do? Yasmin? You sacrifice your sacrificial, your beast, correct? So he was given the khutbah, Yawm al-Eid, and he said to the people, "Oh people, May Allah accept, go sacrifice your beast, may Allah accept your sacrificial. Today I'm going to sacrifice Al-Ja'd ibn Dirham. فإنه رفض أن الله أخذ أو تكلم مع موسى تقديما. And he said, oh people, go out there and sacrifice your beasts. May Allah accept it from you. Today, I'm sacrificing this individual. He was incarcerated. Who said that Allah did not speak directly to Moses, nor did he take Khalil or Ibrahim as a Khalil. So what is he doing here? What's he doing, this man? Al-Ja'd, what's he doing? He's rejecting, he's denying, he's doing this. Ta'til, to what? To the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he goes down and slaughters him. They took us seriously. They took us seriously. Like I said, there's some issues in the transmission, but scholars have said it happened. Some said there's a Allah. But the seriousness of it is very, very crucial to understand. Allahumma sta'an ya tawaha. We'll be able to source today, wouldn't we? What? Astaghfirullah al-Azim. You're not under the Sharia here? What are you doing? What are you talking about? Ahlan bil-Hajj. Ahlan sahlan. I'll allow you guys to ask questions now. Next week, inshallah, we'll continue and hopefully we'll finish them off, these attributes. But hopefully you've understood i'tiqad Ahlas Sunnah wal Jammah fi al-asma'i wa sifat. You are allowed to ask that which Allah ma'akas kini wa alaikum salam. Allah ma'akas. No, I'm Mustafa.
So these people who deny the names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal or commit any of this, cannot we say that they have left the folds of Islam?
No. This is not up to you or I to go and start labeling individuals just because what we think and believe. There's scholars to do that. However, the scholars, their job is to iqamat al-hujjata alayhim. They fulfill the establishment of evidence upon them. And if they consider them after the evidence has been given to them and they continue on their path, they'll label them as kuffar. See, it's a very, very serious issue to claim someone a kafir. Very careful. Even though he's explicitly committing an act of kufr that you may believe, you still cannot label him as kufr if he claims to be la ilaha illallah Muslim until the evidence is upon him, established. So it could be out of utter ignorance. You just don't know. There could be reasons there. But you can say what they're saying or what they're acting upon could be kufr. But to label him immediately, no. Let the scholars do that. You're always best off. Otherwise, wallahi ya Mustafa, who's going to be a Muslim after that? You're going to be very, very, very... And as the hadith says, مَنْ قَالَ لِأَخِيهِ كَافِرٌ فَقَدْ بَاءَ أَحَدُهُمَا. The one who says to his brother, you're a kafir, if he's not a kafir, it comes back to you. If he's not a munafiq, it comes back to you. If he doesn't deserve the curse that you cursed him with, it comes back to you. If he's not a zandiq, it comes back to you. Be very careful. Be very careful in labeling people, because it will come back to you if that person doesn't deserve it. Don't be a slanderer. Let that be for those who understand. You advise and you counsel people, you help. That's your duty. But don't go around and start labeling individuals because you know better. Be very careful about it. No, I must stop it.
Two questions. I agree that you shouldn't go around labeling people. What if you know somebody is clearly going against one another as one of the non-five of Islam?
I didn't say anything about that. That's a different question I'll get now. If you know someone is committing another fire, that's something that invalidates your deen, which takes you out of the pay of Islam, then you go and advise him. And if he continues on that path, you warn against him. You with me? Obviously, you go to the Sheikh and you talk to him first to make sure you're doing the right thing. You don't take the matter in your own hands and say, no, I know it all and I'm 100% sure, I'm taking no. Go to the Sheikh, go to the Mashaykh, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Once you've done that, you ask the Sheikh, what steps do I take? You with me? Never ever take the duty upon yourself and you believe that you are your own Sharia, meaning you are the law maker or you are the judge and you are this and that. You are not. You are not. There are always those above you that know better. Ask them. But what you are saying, if that is true and he continues doing that, a person like that must be warned against. Must be warned against. and his sin or what he's committing, his deviant act, must be exposed if he continues. Understand what I'm saying? If he continues. Because you don't want people to fall in the same predicament. You don't want him to continue harming people. That's a detriment to other people. You can harm them. It's blasphemy. Mustafa.
You know who first categorized these into categories?
Salaf. The Salaf. That's from them. نعم يا مصطفى.
About how you said that you can't resemble him to the identity creation. And sometimes as human nature, you might think of your hand and remember how last hand is going, and you might want to have a thought in your head about.
That's natural.
You know,
That's natural. We're human beings. Naturally, our imagination plays circles with us. You know, and Satan will try to induce you with that belief. But astaghfirullah, as long as it doesn't come out, you don't have a problem, inshallah. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has erased or dismissed that which our thoughts think, our mind thinks, in other words. Had we otherwise been in trouble or accountable, God help us all. All of us, Your Honor, all of us. I can see that head nodding really strongly there. What are you thinking of? Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Now, what was that, Ashraf? You have something? نعم يا علي.
Wallah, forgot.
If it was meant to be, you would have forgotten.
Actually,
بلشنا.
if you know someone
Now,
that's got one of these attributes due to ignorance or to being a layman, what do? Do you stay away from him?
now you advise him.
Advise him?
You advise him.
Do you stay with him?
You advise him as much as you can. Never give up on anyone, ever. Ever. Habib, we shouldn't give up on the non-Muslims, let alone our own kind. We should not give up on non-Muslims, let alone our own kind. And I've said to the brothers many times before, every non-Muslim is a potential Muslim. Every non-Muslim is a what? Potential Muslim. Don't ever forget that. You know, you one day were probably worse than those people walking. You know, Allah blessed you. Would you not like it for others? I would. I would. And that's why he was a mercy to mankind. We all know the hadith. He was not sent as a man who's going to take revenge and harm people. No. I was sent as a mercy to mankind. So want for others what you love for yourself. And is there anything better than helping a person becoming or leaving darkness into light? You know, the satisfaction that you'll get through that? Wallah, is ajib. There's nothing better, more gratifying than you seeing a smile on someone's face because of your actions. Because of you. Wallahi, there's nothing more gratifying, honestly. No, I'll stop it.
This is about last week's lesson.
Yeah.
Is Uthman better than Ali? Like, I don't want to like say.
Well, you've been mixing up the wrong crowd, have you?
No.
Is Uthman more superior or excellent than Ali? I answered that last week. I remember telling you guys the most excellent of his companions are in this order. Did I not?
I know.
Ashraf, did I not? What did I say about Uthman?
Category 1, number 3.
Number 3. After all the messengers and prophets, Uthman comes number 3 out of all creation. After the prophets and messengers. He's number 3. And who confirmed this? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Where? In the authentic narration, Ali himself said that the best of mankind after you, Ya Rasulullah, is Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, Umar al-Faruq, Uthman. And he stopped there. And Uthman heard him. Tacit approval. He was silent. What is that? A tacit approval. Hayya Allah Mustafa. Now, كيف طارق؟ Bilal, I saw your hand earlier on. It's all good? We'll leave it at that. Next week, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. وفقكم الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.